So let me explain what's happening right now on the chart, so you can get an idea of the indicators that I use and how these results are possible. So for me, this is not stock advice. This is not legal advice. This is my month so far. All right. But this is what is working for me. So I am not uh, telling you that this will work for you. I'm just telling you and showing you what works for me. Okay, so we've got right now we've got two Tesla positions going with short-term calls and puts. In order to be able to day trade, you need to have $25,000 in an account. I do recommend Active Trader Pro. I like it. It's sometimes a little slow, but it still works for me. And you'll see that I've got these yellow lines on the screen. Those are ones I've drawn. Those are my estimates as to probably where my puts and my calls will be profitable. So they're not exact. They don't perfectly correlate from calls and puts to the stock price. Okay, so they're just estimates. Now, indicators. Right down here, we've got MACD, and MACD is down on the 1 minute chart. See over here, this is a 1 minute chart. Okay, MACD is down. Volume is also pretty low right now. Okay, so you can see that was a volume spike, and you see what happened when this volume spike happened. Up it went, right? So it's kind of coming down when volume is low and kind of going up when volume is higher sometimes, but that is not a rule. It does help. It makes it easier to bring the market down when volume is low. Okay, MACD is down, volume is kind of low. RSI starting to point up, so that's a contradiction to me. Even though the 1 minute MACD, I tend to go by the trend of it. So when it's trending up, which it really isn't, it's trending very flat. Then if it's trending up, it's more likely to make it go up. RSI, when it's trending up, more likely to make it go up. But I take into factor a few other things as well. Here's the 5 minute chart. In the 5 minute chart, you'll see that RSI is trending down. Okay, so that's a contradiction there. And then also MACD on the 5 minute chart is, I don't care about the trend on the 5 minute chart. I care about where it is. It's above zero. All right, it's 0.04, so it's not very strong, but it is above zero. So this is an up indication to me. This is a down indication to me, down indication, and flat. So I wouldn't be buying anything right now, but I am watching the positions that I do own. See when we can get out of some of those. Now, you'll notice this says 801 is my purchase price. That is not accurate because of wash sales. All right, so I do have a little chart that I use to figure that type of thing out, and it's right over here. I put in what I bought, the quantity, total, and then I have it just create my average for me. So 753 is really actually my average. And so with those puts, we're almost there, 750, to start to be profitable. But yeah, I bought puts and calls at the same time. Well, not exactly at the same time, but I bought them and they're active both at the same time. There is one other indicator that I like to use, and that is what is FINRA doing to the price. Okay, so I bring up a directed trade stocks window over here, put in Tesla, and I'll see that it's kind of hard to watch, but you do your best. 274.95, 274.92. Yeah, they're staying right there with the price. They can really, really drive the price up or down. And sometimes you'll see there's certain days where, for whatever reason, FINY orders, you'll see the quantities are big. FINY orders are totally dragging the stock. Okay, so it might be dragging it up or dragging it down, but it's a good indicator to keep an eye on and just make sure that they're just kind of being fair with the stock, staying right around the stock price. And as long as they are, then it won't make much of a difference. Okay, so Those are all the indicators that I use to buy or to sell. If MACD on the 1 minute is headed up, an RSI is headed up, and over here MACD is above zero, and RSI over here is headed up, then I'm watching, and that is an indication that maybe it's a time to purchase. Now, if you look at these as candles, and that's what they're called, candles. So if you look at the candles and you see how it's moving, right? If it's red, you're looking at the bottom of the candle, that's where it's moving, right? And if it's green, you're looking at the top of the candle, that's where it's moving. Imagine this being a little fucking crazy person burrowing in mud. Follow me here. This works, okay? All right, so this is profitable now at 760. I might get rid of those. Let's see, because it hasn't been going down a whole lot today. It's kind of trending up. So we'll talk about the guy in the mud as we do this here. He's burrowing through. Now, when he gets super excited and he starts burrowing one way faster than the other, okay, the mud collapses on him if he leaves. It moves back in his tunnel, right? If he stays there, it'll stay long enough. It'll stay a tunnel. But if he leaves, it's going to collapse on him and just be a wick, okay, of the candle. So if he came down and tested this real fast and then went, no, screw that, and went back up, that is kind of a bullish or an upward signal. Okay, even though it's a red candle, it's kind of an upward signal. It doesn't always mean that it's gonna go up. It's just another indicator. And then if he is really pushing really hard, like right now, he's you see those pull up was really fast. The push down was kind of slow. You kind of just look at it and get an idea. You see that he was really working on pushing it up right there, right? So get an idea as to what you think this guy is thinking. Where does he want to go? Which way is he headed? Now, he's fucking nuts. Remember that. So he isn't necessarily going to just go in one direction. Sometimes he does. Sometimes he runs through this mud like crazy and he is on the move. Other times he's back and forth and back and forth. But you get an idea for which way it is that he is actually pushing, which way he really wants to go. All right, like right now, here we go. Going negative. I'm going to take that there because crazy man is being a little crazy. I don't know which way he's going to go, but let's see how that worked out for us here. We were at 1351 so far for the day, just in case you are thinking, oh my gosh, I can't follow this guy. He's talking about a crazy man digging tunnels in mud. Yeah, well, my crazy man digging tunnels in mud has made me $1,500 almost today, and has made me over 20 grand this month. So get on board. It's a crazy man burrowing in the mud. But those are the indicators that I use to do this. And now I'm going to answer the phone. All right. So we are out of our puts now, and we've got our calls. Now here's the thing. All right, let's see. Now you learn where the magic works. How is it possible that I have to get up to this line and I could still make money even if it was trending down? That doesn't seem to make any sense, but it's true. Now I've already averaged this a little bit, so my calls, I have 10 of them. Let's check and make sure that our purchase is correct, because sometimes because of wash sales, these numbers aren't right. So the last time I bought calls, I bought 10 of them. I'm going to look down here. Those are puts because of the P. Calls, 832 I bought at. Okay. And then the last call, 856. And it says I'm at 833. Wait, did I buy 10? Okay. So 832. So this is correct. Because of the fee, it really is legit 833. Okay. Now, when the stock was up here touching this line is when I was just about break even. So I know that that line is fairly accurate. There's another thing that will change that, and that is decay, time decay. All right. So basically, let me explain time decay like this. If you rented a room in a house and they said it's $10 a night to rent the room in the house, and you said, all right, great, here's $100, probably going to stay 10 nights. And then after the first night, you decided, no, I'm out. They wouldn't give you your whole $100 back, right? They give you 90. Okay, because you rented it. Stocks or options, whether they're calls or puts, you are renting those shares from someone. Okay, so this is what you pay to rent it. All right. Now, sometimes while you're living in that house, the value of the house might go up. And this is a strange rental agreement because then the value of your call or put, your call in this case, if it goes up, as well. All right. You've got a rent to own deal with the owner. Okay. If it's a put, then when you buy in and the value of that house goes down, then that makes it worth more to you. All right, because you are betting against it, basically. All right. But I can, like I was saying, I can fix this average. Like if I'm like, crap, I don't think it's going to get back up here again. I don't take this lightly. Like I don't just go, well, let's buy 5 more here, let's buy 10 more here. But let me explain something. 10 I have right now is here. The stock is here. If I were to buy another 10, it would bring my break-even line, my average, halfway in between the two. Okay? So it would bring it down here. So do I want to just go and grab them right now? No, because the more I have, the more I'm risking. All right, I have 10 of these at now the purchase price $8.33. That's per share. So really, call is 100 shares. So that cost me $833 each times 10. $8,330 is what I have at risk right now. Now, that's only at risk if Tesla to call. So if Tesla went private all of a sudden, or they, went to zero, then I could lose all of that $8,000. Okay, but it's not likely that that's what's going to happen. So really, what you're risking is a portion of it. All right, so it takes money to make money, right? You had to invest a lot of money into that house. But you know that the house, unless the house burns down, it's still going to have some value. Okay. So the other thing that could happen is my expiration date, could come up. If I keep this long enough that this expiration date comes up, this will decay to 0. So these are not to keep long term. Okay. The expiration date is the 23 is the year, 09 is the month, and 29 is the day. So September 29th, I like to go, today is the 14th, so I like to go at least 2 weeks out, so time decay isn't hitting me right away. You'll see when you start to look, the options are cheaper when the date is sooner. So let's look. Okay, so let's not pick 266.67. Let's pick 270. 270 calls are $5.70. Okay, actually they're $5.85. This is always assume the worst when it comes to these. Like, wait, which am I going to buy at? You're going to buy at the higher price. Which am I going to sell at? You're going to sell at the lower price. Okay. So anyway, so they're right around $6 or so right now. All right. Well, let's just change the date. We're going to have to fix it all, but we'll just change the date. And we'll go February 16th, 2024. All right, keep the same strike price, 270. All right, now look at them, $40 each, so $4,000. $41.40. It would cost you just for one of these. Okay, why? Well, because there's more time. So that's how much this will decay. All right, if when we get to the point that we're only a day away from where this is currently, so February 15th, these will no longer be worth $4,000. They'll be worth about $500, roughly. So and it depends on a lot of other factors, but just to give you an example of why time decay cuts away on you. So you have to watch that. Okay, so let's see how we can fix this call that we've got right now. Average is 833. I've got 10 of them, and Tesla is currently headed down. I could buy here and bring my average down to here, right? If I bought 10 more. Or I could buy 5 and bring my average to like here, but I'm waiting because I don't know how low it's going to go. I like to trade Tesla because it's volatile as heck. Matter of fact, I might even grab some more puts. Let's see what the trend is here. Be a buy 5. I always buy 5. All right. When I first started, I did 1 at a time, and then even now, I still only do 5 because I can size up a lot. My non-margin buying power is the money that comes out of. It's at 46,000. So if I buy 5 of these at $8 each, then that's $4,000. That lets me be able to size up a lot. Okay, so I can fix when something goes to shit, like this call is right now. I don't panic because $1,000 negative. Who cares? Because I can fix that. But I need to know when I think it's going back up again before I'm gonna bother fixing it. All right, so people are definitely selling right now. You see the volume's getting higher, and Crazy Man is tunneling. And then sometimes I'll check and see what the news is. Now, if you have I have it on a different screen. So Tesla news came through because these are my positions. So Work Sport shows the potential of the EV era by promising freedom from the grid. Okay, so it's really nothing new. All right, but I keep an eye on that. Now, if you have a Bloomberg terminal, which I think might cost you like $500 a month or something like that, then you're going to get the news immediately. But the rest of us get to see it when they decide to show it to us, right? So it is slower if you don't have a Bloomberg terminal. But a lot of times the news isn't really anything that's going to do anything to your price anyway, or do very little, or even if it does do a lot with Tesla, it's typically not going to do a lot for a long time. It's got to be pretty serious news. All right, so you can see that we're kind of trending down here, right? And this is VWAP. It is an average, basically. Okay, so you'll see that like it's kind of moving up. Here, VWAP has come up. It's easier to tell on the 5 minute. All right, it kind of follows the trend of the stock, but it's not right on with it. Okay, so and then here we have the moving average. Okay, so those indicators, I leave them up, but honestly, they don't really do much for me. They are resistance, so people will buy when it hits VWAP. And so you saw it came down, touched VWAP, and went back up. Sometimes it goes through it a little bit and then comes back up, like right here. The Crazy Man tunneled way down and then realized he was below VWAP and went, oh shit, and went back up, right? So that happens a lot. Those indicators become resistance lines. And just assume this. The more times that he tunnels down or tunnels up to a certain spot, and then stops and turns around, makes the mud harder to get through. Just a thin layer of wall there. It's hard to get through that mud. So if he backs up and runs his ass off and breaks through, he's going to cruise. And the thicker the wall, the more times it's bounced off of that wall, the faster he's going to get through it when he goes through. So like here, this is a little bit of a resistance, but not much, right? Because there's only one time that it hit there. So, it might play around a little bit there, but it's probably not going to stop that much there. We don't really have any major resistances right now. It will resist at numbers sometimes. 23 for some reason is a number with Tesla right now, and that'll change. But it tends to go up to 23 and then come back down. And also at the dollar marks. So when it hits 275, like it'll resist before it busts through. Downwards also, it'll resist before it busts through to the lower dollar amount. So 274, it might hit some resistance at 274 and slow down. But that is pretty much everything that I look at. The biggest aspect of it is probably how fast this crazy motherfucker is tunneling. That's what is my biggest indicator. Okay. Now we're really far away from our line, right? So what is it looking like? It's starting to trend upward here, still down, down, level. I'm not buying anything yet, but I am going to be ready. So 280 calls, I have 10 of them. I am going to be ready to buy 10. I like to make sure it's the right one just by going like this, and it'll tell me I have 10 contracts. Okay, good. It's the right one. Because I can't tell you how many times I've bought instead of selling, or I've bought a call when I meant to buy a put, and stuff like that. It happens to all of us. Now, it gets back down here to VWAP. Might be a good indication that it's going to turn around because it's VWAP and it's hit it a few times. All right, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to push all the way back up here. So I don't like to just grab those real quick. I like to wait and watch and be careful, because the more shares I have, the more I'm risking, or the more calls or puts, the more options I have, the more I'm risking. And so I don't take it lightly, because if I were to buy 10 more right here, and then it goes the opposite way, I'm losing twice as much money as I was before. Okay? But hang in there, because you're going to see we get out of this at a profit. I almost always do. You'll have losses. I have losses. Checking all of my rearview mirrors here. FINRA's been pretty fair for the last few days. Sometimes you'll see, like, the price is $274.39, and you see 275 and 280 going by over here, that type of thing. And that tends to drive it up or down. You just need to keep an eye on what it's doing and how it's affecting it. This is looking like a pretty solid trend upward. So I may grab my 10 calls. Let's see if it goes back down to EMA again. Nah, it's staying above. Let's move it. Let's move the needle. So there's 10. That should move us down to somewhere around here. We might need to do more than that, just because that seems to be almost right at a resistance level here. And we'll see. But now we're up to 20, and you see our average move down. So calls, open 10 calls at 785, or moved up, sorry. 785, so close. Nope. Oh, yeah, moved up. Okay, shit together, Brian. Calls 832 and 785. Alright, so 809. There you go. So it's accurate. Now we've got 20, and right now we're negative 583 on it. We can get more if we need to, but it seems to be headed our way. Now let's play the wait and see game, if it's going to get up there high enough or not. Once again, you're going to hear me say this a lot on this channel. This is not stock advice. This is entertainment purposes only. This is not any kind of legal or investing advice at all. Just showing you what I do. Not changing very quickly, but sometimes this doesn't move a lot either. So I don't really watch that number. I watch, here's my purchase price, average, and the bid price, what I'd get when I sell it, right? So 809, so I'm like 50 cents per share away right now. That does not equate to 50 cents. I mean, it almost seems like it does, but it doesn't equate to 50 cents move in the stock price. I like to put some indicators sometimes here for my own purposes, just to see what's happening, you know. I mean, where really is this? Here? Somewhere around there? Be the bottom of the wicks. You know, I could also very easily say that this line is more like here, okay, in which case that would be considered breaking the trend. Yeah, it seems to be moving back down again. And that's a resistance line, right? Okay, trend is definitely a resistance line. But I think it seems to be more accurate to put it here, which would mean it's staying within the trend. It's not really a trend. I mean, only 2 does not count as a trend, but this is definitely an upward trend. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes of it moving up, roughly 9, 8, whatever. This is probably more of an art than a science exactly. Now, if it breaks through there, remember the little man tunneling? There's some resistance here that's built up. Alright, so that mud's getting a little thick, so he's running and pushing against that wall to see if he can bust through. And if he does bust through, he might, decide his head hurts and stop and turn around. Or if he busts through, it should move fairly quickly. Possibly only 5 cents, but nonetheless, it still tends to move quickly when he does bust through. So, and when he doesn't bust through, he just makes that resistance that much stronger. Why does that happen? It happens because people see a resistance building up, and they'll set that as their sell price. So they'll go, okay, I'm going to buy the shares on the dip, and then I'm going to sell them. Where am I going to sell them? So they'll set their sell price to be at that resistance line. So, but he busted through the wall. There he goes. He's off and running. So now we get to see how close my line is to being accurate. It's constantly adjusting because it's not 100% accurate. It might be a little low. Might have to move it up a little bit. See the crazy man tunneling in. He hits some resistance and backs up, and then he's pushing, but you can tell, like, it looks like he's pushing up, not down. It doesn't have anything to do with the color of the candle. Like, look over here at the 5 minute, right? So it is red, but, oh wait, sometimes this happens to me. The chart stops working. I don't know why. So anyway, the candle, it may be green, but it could be a candle like this, like a green candle like this, right? And he could have started down here, come all the way up here, and then backtracked like this one he did. Came up, he went all the way up here, but then real quick he came back. So that could be a very negative candle, even though it's green. Could be bullish. If it's got a long wick on the bottom, or bearish if it's got a long wick on the top. Bearish means it's going to go down. Bullish means it's going to go up. So just imagine a bear hibernating and a bull charging you. Okay, so it looks like it might be breaking trend, or he may notice that he broke the trend and go back up, right? Leaving just the wick behind. But if he moves down, that's fine. You can always adjust this. Right now, we have 20. But we just don't want to do that unless we have to. Remember, like, what's happening is this stock price, this price right here, represents 20 times 100 shares. Okay, each contract is 100 shares. So that's 2,000 shares of Tesla that we've rented. So that's why the profit and the loss moves much quicker. You know, if Tesla went from 275.25 to 275.26 and you owned one share, you'd make a penny. But if you owned 2,000 shares, then you'd make $200, right? Or $20, whatever. Yeah, I'm stupid and I can still do this. So every little penny tick is, a $20 difference. Yeah, so it's kind of breaking trend, so it might drop it like it's hot right here, and that'll just give us, we'll just have another opportunity for it to go back up, and if not, then we'll lower our average, right, by getting another 5 or 10 or 20 calls. But that's how you get yourself in deep shit, is when you end up with 100 calls, you're maxed out. Well, it depends on how much your non-margin buying power is. So you end up maxed out. You have no non-margin buying power left, and you're watching the stock just keep going down. And all of a sudden, before you know it, that number is getting to negative 10,000, 15, 20,000. So you want to watch that for sure. You should have a maximum loss amount in mind, and don't let it get out of hand. Because if you lose $1,000, you can fix that in 5 minutes tomorrow morning. But if you lose $10,000, that might take a little longer. It'll also affect your confidence, and a lot of this is all about confidence. So, could I be making twice as much as I am if I was just doubling the amounts? I could, but then I also could be losing much, much bigger when I lose. I would rather be cautious and stick around, 10% of my non-margin buying power at the most for an initial purchase. That way I can average it a lot. Sorry about that. I'm working on other stuff on my other monitor here. while I'm trading, so I'm not just sitting here staring at the thing all the time. Before you know it, you end up in mud tunnels, digging and running back and forth. If it busts up through this resistance, it's pretty strong resistance here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which means that it might have a hard time. It might not bust up through. Kind of hoping it does. But if it does, he's probably going to break through with momentum, right? So now I'm keeping an eye and I'm getting ready. And once that momentum dies out, I will click to sell my 20 contracts. And do I miss out on, bigger gains by not staying in? Sure. I don't care. I miss out on bigger losses too. This is the method that's been working for me. You see how the option price is not correlated directly to the stock price, because I'm negative 183, right? And the stock price is moving around and stuff, and it's not changing sometimes, or it changes here or there. Sometimes I'm even on this line, and sometimes I'm not even until it gets up here. So it's not directly correlated. I mean, it's definitely correlated, indirectly correlated, but it's not a perfect science exactly there, because people are buying and selling those options at the prices that they want to buy and sell them at the same time as the stock moving and people buying and selling the stocks. He's thinking about busting through. He's banging his head on that hard mud at the end of his tunnel. See, it may look like it broke trend over here, but then you come over here and you look at the 5-minute, and you're like, yeah, it's still right on trend. And as much as it looks like this yellow line that I drew is a resistance point, that happens all the time. It's not. I'm the only one who can see that yellow line. Well, on the stock market anyway. You also have to watch the time. People start at 9:30. Some other people start at 10 to 10:05. Around 1 p.m., the managers, account managers, hedge fund managers go on lunch, and that will affect it. And then between 3 and 4 p.m., people are taking their profits out, so it might move it way down, or buying so that they can play a trade for the next day, swing trading from one day to the next. So you have stuff like that too. So it gets volatile towards the end of the day. I usually try to be done by noon. It's 12:20 now, so I'm still in it, and it's just been a slow day. Seeing as how I did over $5,000 yesterday, it just hasn't been moving as much as it did yesterday. So we had this upward MACD, and now MACD is coming down. So I'm not expecting to get out of this right now, because this MACD is down, this is flat, and below 0, negative 0.05 for the 5-minute MACD. So I'm thinking about buying 10 more at some point, but I'm waiting, right? Indicator flat, indicator down, down, down. So I don't want to do it right now, because I'll just be multiplying my loss as it moves down more. And if I can catch it at the very absolute bottom before it comes back up, I'll get the biggest change. I'm not going to buy 20 more right now, but I'll do 10 more. So that'll move it a third of the way. I also can make money on the moving too by, grabbing some puts and then selling the puts while I have calls going. I do that quite frequently. That looks like a pullback to me, so I'm going to grab 5 puts and then be ready to sell 5 puts. And I'm going to go draw my indicator line. Moves so weird right now. I don't know why it seems so slow, but yeah, that's not right. So I have to keep an eye on that. 5 puts at 753, right? This happens because of wash sales. So open the 5 puts. You'd notice me checking like 2, 3, 4 times. 753. So right now I'm at 755, 760. I mean, if it's really going to plummet, then maybe I'll wait and actually get rid of that wash sale. Let it go all the way to 809. Would be nice. 760 right now. Watching my indicators. Checking the chart. It's like driving. Checking your mirrors. Right? Checking, make sure that FINRA isn't messing with us too much. Now I don't care if it goes up or down. I'm going to make money either way. Eventually. Sometimes you have to hold them through the night if it doesn't go your way. You have to hold them a couple days, but it starts to get kind of dangerous because, Tesla chops a lot throughout the day, but it'll make moves overnight. And I've made a lot of money having something overnight, and I lost a lot of money having something overnight. Okay, so you can see over the course of 5 days how it's been trending up very nicely. Okay, so if I bought back here some puts, and I was, back here some puts, and I was like, shoot, it didn't keep moving down, I'll wait. Okay, well, my puts are going to be hurting pretty bad next day when the market opens, right? And they're never going to get back down here. So hopefully this would just be 5. And then if I waited and I bought 5 more here, right, my average would be somewhere in the middle, right here. And then I may have to do it again. So my average is now right above the word Tesla, right? It gets up to here. If I average again, come up to here, boom, I can get out right there, day 3. Just depends on how you want to play the game. Okay, 755. I was in at 753. 60. All right. MACD is kind of curving up, so let's see if we can grab 760 again. Might not be able to right now. There it was. There we go. Oh, maybe he is pushing away, pushing down again. Recoil. Yeah, the volatile motion, like the candles are moving faster, typically means more volume, but it wasn't really much more volume. This is feeling downward to me. So this might start to curve back down again. We'll see. Down, down, down. All right. If I'm worried about it, I don't like doing this usually because sometimes you can miss really good moves. But I am going to put in the limit order. Let that sell at 760. This may be a good point to average down with our calls a little bit. Let's see. The day has still been looking, trending up all day. Yeah, I like it for 10 right now. Trending up, this is still down. Up, and trending up. Okay, let's grab them. Trade. We must have see the candles kind of breathe in and out, right? Like breathe in, breathe out, 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 breathe in. Of course, it's got to breathe out. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's headed back down. It might mean, it's Tesla. It could tank to 273 right now in a blink of an eye. But it is more likely that it's just taking a breath, like a rubber band pulling back, because the trend has been up all day. I'm setting up this chart to put the sell order in. So it's ready to go over there just in case it pops, because I put in buy 10 more just in case it goes down a bit. But I don't, 796, I'm not spending more than 796, and 795 isn't going to move me at all. So I'm not going to buy there because it's not going to move me. And I always, when I set it up, I always look to see if that pops up, so I know I'm in the right place. I've had it on the wrong account and all kinds of stuff. I can take this line and say extend it to the right, and that'll take it out for me. See if it's sticking within the trend over there, because it's breaking trend on the 1 minute. 785. I have 30, and my average is 796. Oh, that looks nice. I like the way it was pushing like that. Let's see if it keeps going up. Looks like it wanted to. Alright, I'm going to take it there, because I'm not quite sure. Looks like it might come back down. Let's see if it puts us over 2. Yep, there we go. $2,000 day. And I am going to go enjoy the rest of the day.